Support for Another Round comes from Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com today for a domain experience that's transparent and easy to set up. Just make sure you enter offer code Another Round at checkout to get 10% off. Make your next move with Squarespace.
Hey everyone, Eleanor from the Pod Squad here. I just wanted to share with you some very exciting news, and that is that Another Round is having a live show in Chicago, and we want to see you there. Join us on June 21st at Thalia Hall for a live taping of the podcast. It's going to be amazing. It's part of WBEZ's Podcast Passport series. And tickets go on sale on Friday, May 5th. And for more information, go to wbez.org/events.
Remind me to say by the time I cooked an egg in my hair.
Cooked?
Yeah.
Did you like stand out in the sun with the
I
magnifying
might as well
glass
have.
on top
I
of
might as well have.
Wait, did somebody tell you to cook an egg in your hair?
No, I was not supposed to cook an egg in my hair. But
So it was an accident.
it was an
Sound like a
accident.
good idea.
It was an accident. It was one of those like, oh, I'm going to make my own deep conditioner with like mayonnaise and eggs. And I was like the smelly shit that I don't want to smell like.
Ooh.
And I was rinsing it out and the water was too hot.
No.
And so I'm combing my hair and I'm like, what is
cooked egg.
all in my hair?
How'd you get that out?
I had to wash my hair again.
I'm glad we went on this journey, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, my hair looks great for what it's worth, so I'll probably do it again one day.
Nah, I'm not trying it.
Hi.
Oh my God. I feel so attacked. Like you had an intention in your eye. I saw it, Tracy.
I was so
You're like, I'm going to cut her off. I know you were pleased. I saw it. Hi, everyone. I'm Heben. That's Tracy. She a biter. Wow. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy. Oh, gosh.
And this is Another Round with Heben and Tracy.
It is.
Delirious.
Hi, Heben.
Hi.
You look great.
Thank you. I shaved my legs.
Ooh.
For the first time. My legs are like, wow. Oh, my God. Let me free.
What's going on the show today?
Yeah, we have a fun show, as usual.
What's so fun about the show? Who's going to be here? Is it Karyn Parsons?
Oh, my God. Tracy, how did you know? Who's Karyn Parsons for the girls in the back?
Karyn Parsons played Hillary on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
The Hillary Banks.
The Hillary Banks.
The original Bad and Bougie, if you will.
Ooh.
We will later in the
T-shirt with
interview,
that
so
on there.
you better.
Absolutely. If you're wondering why we keep referencing Black History Month when it's not Black History Month anymore, that's because we recorded it during Black History Month.
No, that's because every month is Black History Month.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes. And we also have a What Happened Was because people have been asking for it, but also I keep getting into fights with Lyft drivers. I just need to get it off my chest.
I feel like every day's a journey with you, Tracy.
It is. It really is.
I'm excited. We haven't done one of those in a minute.
I know. And this is kind of a twofer because I've got stories of two separate fights that I've had with two separate Lyft drivers in the past month.
Oh, my God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a twofer.
Twofer.
A Tracy twofer. So we are very excited to have Karyn Parsons in the stude. You probably know her as the ditzy Boujee girl from Fresh Prince. The older
original.
sister. The original Bad and Boujee, if you will.
I will.
I will absolutely
I would
allow
love
it.
to. Let's.
She's been acting for a while, and her latest venture is Sweet Blackberry, a nonprofit that makes educational material kits featuring lesser-known stories of Black excellence. You know we need that.
Yes.
Teach the children.
Teach the what?
The children.
We're not
and
drinking
the
all
kids.
yet.
And
Also the
children.
kids. All of them.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so there was a conversation on the internet about did you learn if Eli Whitney, the inventor of the cotton gin, was white or black? Did you learn he was white or black?
No, I didn't learn anything about Eli Whitney.
Really?
Oh,
I feel like he's like
wow.
one of the first people they teach you about.
No, George
Yeah.
Washington Carver. It might be a generational thing.
No, we still get the Peanut Man.
Yeah, the Peanut Man.
That's all the information I have.
Forget about him.
You do.
So another thing that I'm always really interested about in conversations about Black history is what people in different regions learn. So you grew up in LA, right?
Yeah.
What was Black History Month like in LA schools when you were growing up?
I don't think we had it yet.
What? Wait.
The
I'm
month?
sorry. I don't know. We had February. We did have February.
I mean, you don't have to apologize. I'm glad y'all still have February.
Wow.
I'm a little older than you guys. I don't know if we were celebrating. I don't think we were celebrating. I mean, definitely Black history was not something we focused on in school at all. And then I went to California schools, and I think they've probably changed, but they were notoriously bad.
So what did you learn about Black history?
Growing up, not in school, not a lot. I think, like I said, the Peanut Man. We learned about George Washington Carver.
Mr. Peanut, as he's known.
If we learned about Frederick Douglass, I was absent.
If you were gone one day, you missed it.
I mean, really, for me, it was the real, like, it was, Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King and the Peanut Man, and that was like it. I mean, I really learned nothing, and it's picked up. Obviously, it's gotten a lot better. And as I've been doing Sweet Blackberry, I've found I talk to and I get so much information about teachers, educators that are really vigilant, and they're trying to get more information and trying to find more resources and trying to dig up money to get those materials in. But I think for a long time, it just wasn't something that was that important or stressed, and definitely not where they put their money.
So school failed you in that respect, but we, through our diligent research, have learned that your mother, who was a librarian, sort of filled the gaps for you.
Well, when I was older, this was not as a kid, but when I was on Fresh Prince when my mother was head of the Black Resource Center at her library, and so she would come across all kinds of interesting stories and archives, and she would call me, tell me the things that she found. And that's when I found out about Henry Box Brown, the enslaved man who mailed himself to freedom.
Which
in a
is
box,
crazy.
literally.
So I literally learned about this like months ago.
Yeah, nobody knew about it then. I mean, when I found out, when she told me about it, I remember trying to look him up, and this was when the I hate to keep going back to this dating myself stuff, but the computers were big, like, kind of yellowish looking beige boxes.
And the screen was like black and green.
Yeah.
And digitized. We had one of those.
And you're trying to find information about, and there was nothing about him then. And I would talk to my friends, and none of my friends had heard of him. Nobody had heard of Henry Box Brown.
What was the story of Henry Box Brown?
Henry Box Brown was enslaved. I mean, God, it was a sad story. It was clearly a sad story. It was terrible. Surprise. I hate to break it to you.
Right. Spoiler alert.
It wasn't happy. He ended up marrying and having kids, but he had asked his owner to please not, if he was to marry this woman, to never separate them. He didn't want to go there if that was going to happen, and he promised him. And then flash forward, he's had children and they have a life together, be it a life as a slave, but still. And he came home one day and she was gone, kids were gone, the house was empty. They had nothing.
What?
He didn't know where they were. He didn't know what happened. And somebody told him where she had been, the wagon that took her, and he ran and ran around, found the wagon, held her hand for 4 hours, walking with her. And then they finally just said that they would meet in heaven, and that was it. And so then he was so broken, and he ended up just saying, screw it, I'll take a chance, and I'll...
How do you even have the idea, though?
Yeah, because, I mean, he was like, well, there's no Uber around, so.
How do I get there? And he just, but he realized if I could get out of where I live, if I could get across to where this isn't the life. And so he had somebody mail him as the best way to get someplace, I guess.
It's fucking genius.
As a black man, I mean,
you
can't just hop on the train. You couldn't just hop on it. But if I'm hidden,
yeah,
and people think that I'm part of the mail,
right? Oh, y'all want to treat me like property? Okay, I got you.
Put some stamps on this box.
Put some stamps on it.
Put some stamps on it.
Mail me, bitch. I mean, that's genius.
Yeah.
Well, if you survive, it's genius.
Also, if you survive, it's genius.
Also, yeah. Quick detour. I once got nearly put out of a museum in Cincinnati. I was at the Underground Railroad Museum, and they had a Henry Box Brown exhibit, and they had like a replica of the box that he was in.
Yes.
And I was
Oh
like,
my God.
I gotta see what it feels like.
Wait,
when was this? When was this? Is this recent or is
this would
this
have been about
childhood?
Oh, right. How big were you?
No.
in the box?
I was an
I
was an adult.
Yeah,
I was too grown to do
a
what.
kid can get away with stuff like that.
No.
Not just the size issue, but just like with a kid, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
but
wait,
if
just
it's
precocious.
Did he mail himself to Cincinnati?
No, that is where
terrible.
the museum is. He mailed himself
to Philadelphia.
Philly, yeah, to Philly. And so I'm like, well, obviously, I need to see, like, I need like a hands-on experience, you know. So I crawled my little ass in the box because my ass
In a
was swollen.
museum?
Well, there's nobody there, and
Wow.
there were no
Wait.
signs saying not to.
I'm not
So
taking
this
you
is-
to the museum.
Damn it!
This is not like an interactive exhibit.
Well, it was that day.
I thought it was. I learned that it was not. When a very nice
What
security
happened?
guard, he was just like, "Ma'am, we're gonna need you to get out of the."
Ma'am,
I
you
need you to
cannot
get out of the
mail
exhibit.
yourself to freedom.
I was like, "Oh my bad, I didn't
You're
know.
free.
I just didn't
You're
know.
free.
I made it.
You made it. You're here.
But
Get out. Yay! Everybody celebrate
better
it.
get your free ass out of here before we make some changes.
Oh my goodness.
I did snag a picture though. Maybe I'll find the picture and
Did you really?
I did. I got a
This
picture.
just happened.
No, it was like 8 years ago. It was a while
Okay.
ago.
All right.
Yeah.
So much I
I'll
don't
see if
know
I can
about you.
find the picture.
That is
Pictures
great.
didn't happen, Tracy.
Fair. Okay. So you have kids and you're like, what are my kids learning in school?
Right.
And now we have this beautiful thing called Sweet Blackberry.
Yeah.
What is it and where did the name come from? It sounds like a poem.
They both had to do with my daughter. When my mom told me the story of Henry Box Brown, I started making notes and I was going to make a line of books for kids because nobody knew the story. I didn't know, And then I would make more notes and I'd forget about it and go traipsing off and having my wonderful, Fresh Prince life. Enjoying that. And this just went on and on where I'd find more information and more stories and I'd write them down. And then when I was pregnant with my daughter is when I got serious about it. I started thinking about her future and about what I was supposed to offer her and how. And my husband is an independent filmmaker. So he just does stuff, whereas my history of being an actress, I just wait.
Till somebody's like, here are your lines.
Right. They go, oh, okay, I can do that. But otherwise, I'm just waiting, for my audition or whatever. And he got sick of hearing me talk about like, oh, this would be a great idea. And he's like, you need to stop.
Okay, I get the hint.
Do
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
So that's how that happened. So I just went and got in there. And the idea with Sweet Blackberry is I want to bring these little known stories of African American achievement to kids, to the children, to all of them. Because I think that, in the schools we only learn about a handful of stories. Mm-hmm. We learn great stories, but there are just so many more. And I really feel strongly that we send this message when you only tell a few stories that, every once in a while, a special Black person comes along and does something great.
An exception to the rule.
Yeah, and I just think that's so dangerous. That's what goes in. I'm not saying that people don't learn the stories, but that message goes in as well. And I think that if we can get the truth of the matter, which is we are the fabric of this country, we are so much the fabric of it, a part of it, and there's so much that's so valuable and important. And I think if our kids get that early, it'll change all kids. It'll change the whole landscape of race for them,
I feel like one of the things that happens, like we were just talking about, is like when you get older, you find these meaningful stories to you that you're like, well, how did I not know about this part of my history?
Yeah.
Recently, after reading Citizen by Claudia Rankine, I recently learned this word, John Henryism, and she writes about it. She's talking about these microaggressions she's experienced. It's part of like the running thread of the book. And she's talking about this phrase, there exists a medical term, John Henryism, for people exposed to stress stemming from racism. They achieve themselves to death trying to dodge the buildup of erasure.
Oh, wow.
So like,
I have to read this.
Yes, it was heavy, man. But I have found in my Black history education that like finding the words for these like vague things you're feeling, like racial stress.
Yeah.
It just feels like a part of your environment. It doesn't feel like a thing you can name and that has like a history and
Right. Well, it hasn't been given a name, right?
Right.
It hasn't been given a place. And words, as we keep talking about, like with this past election, people were saying, words are important. Words are important. And being able to find a way to identify what you feel. And then especially when other people say, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Suddenly it's not this vague, feathery thing floating around that doesn't
becomes real.
It's real. And it's valid,
Yeah. Were there moments like that for you of just like understanding a part of yourself better? Or
I'm sure there were and are. Still.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, I think still. I mean, I still find myself having that reaction to words and terms. Like I hear things still all the time.
It's
Somebody
so
says something and go,
affirming.
oh, I need to read more.
True.
Because people hit on things and you think, I need that.
Yeah.
It helps you identify how you feel,
And it also gives you the tools and language to talk about it with other
Definitely.
people, which is very therapeutic because that's how you find out that you're not the only one
Right.
who's like dealing with this particular thing.
Right.
How do you talk about this kind of stuff with your children?
Well, some of it, I mean, it's interesting. My daughter's 13. So she's 13 now. She's always saying, it's such a strange time to be 13, you know.
She's
Wow,
right.
she's you. I wouldn't expect a 13-year-old to be like, it's a weird time to be this age.
But it's complicated. Things are very complicated, and racially things are so complicated. And I think in terms of gender, that's why I'm always saying to her, like, you don't even know the beginning of the gender stuff. And so for her, it's definitely, she's seeing things kind of erupting everywhere and being discussed, and everybody's very open about things and pushing. And then there are these other people, they're trying to push things back, push the genie back in the bottle, you know.
Yeah.
There's that. So we talk. She and I talk about stuff. She talks. My son's 9. We're not into a lot, but you know, you
Sounds
also
right.
you don't want to be. I take my lead from her.
What does she talk to you about?
Race issues are a big deal for her, and gender. She talks about gender identification a lot as well. I think she's interested. She's protective of people, supportive, very excited about how things are changing. But I think, for one thing, I'm biracial, and her father's white. And my mother's Black, and she's always been very, very close to my mom, always been very, very close to me. So
Does
this
she
is just...
identify as Black?
She does, or as mixed. But she's got blonde hair and blue eyes, and she goes to a school that is really... She goes to a public school that's very mixed, right? So there actually are fewer white people at her school than anything. And in a time where, with Black Lives Matter being very, very prominent, and with all of the discussions out there, I think, and she's very activist, kind of, motivated, oriented.
Did you have to have a moment with your husband where you were like, all right, how are we going to handle this?
But her wanting to do stuff?
Just like, she's going to come into her political identity.
I felt like that when she was born, and she was blue-eyed.
You were like,
and
oh,
that hair.
we gotta talk.
I said, I just know what's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to happen. And it's true. And I think I have things that I've written about it. Because I was like, I'm going to write something about this.
Wait, what did you write? What did you assume was going to happen?
I felt like my daughter is going to be really vocal and kind of probably try to overcompensate for the fact that she looks the way she looks, that she's going to go a little, a little far. And I swear my husband thinks that her first word was our dog's name, Buddha. He thinks that was her first word, but I swear, and I'm her mom, I think her first word was cracker. I'm serious. Wait.
I was not ready.
We need the full story.
Wait, who did she say it to? Please tell me it was her dad.
No, not saying it to somebody. She wanted a cracker. Like, she literally was like, cracker. Like, give me a cracker. I was like, oh no. She learned the word already.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, was this baby watching the Jeffersons Saturday?
Don't touch me, cracker.
Oh
my goodness.
Oh, shit. I mean, for her, I think that it's a time where she feels like she wants to stand up on the tables and scream, I'm black, and have a say in the conversation. But because of how she looks, I think she feels like people don't listen to her or don't take her seriously, or she's dismissed. There's this kind of dismissed attitude because it's like, well, you're.
Yeah.
It's like almost like
more privilege than everybody else.
Yeah, and it's almost like, well, you're white, so.
Yeah.
And she just so doesn't feel like that. So I think it's and it just amps her up even more, I believe.
Did your husband think that would happen?
No, he wasn't thinking about anything like that. He wasn't thinking about anything like that. Although he does feel like, I think he does feel a little bit like the animosity they have is she's a 13-year-old girl and all that, and sometimes it can get really, really tense in the house. And he definitely gets more of it than I do. He gets a lot more of it, and he thinks part of it's just like, it's because I'm white. It's not a good time to be a white man. He's like, it's just not a good time to be a white man.
Not even safe in his own home.
Get away from me, cracker.
She hasn't pulled that out yet, but it's time.
Oh my gosh. So was it with the birth of your children that you started to think more about like the stories that they're told and like what they learn about who they are?
Yeah, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I started That's when I started wondering, what do they teach kids in school?
By the way,
I didn't learn a lot. I was, as I got older, I wasn't even, I was skipping a lot, and I wasn't. I was like, what do they teach?
smoking cigarettes in the bathroom?
No, I wasn't. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That was later though.
But I.
I'm sorry.
But no, I was thinking, I don't know what they teach them, and it's going to be up to me as a parent to supplement some of their education.
It's a little overwhelming.
Oops, I didn't realize.
Not that I'm a parent. I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah.
But my baby sister, when I was watching her grow up, I was like, what they teaching you history?
Yeah, with my
What'd you learn?
Right. I used to get my niece in trouble. Because this is during super annoying, like just like newly radicalized, like black whatever. It's like black as fuck Tracy, but like annoying in that way that like an undergrad student has like a sociology class and they think they know everything.
Sociology class.
Yeah. I was
see what you
the
need
worst.
to know.
Exactly.
Is that the system?
Right. What do you mean good morning? Good morning is actually a term rooted in the oppression of black people. So that was me. And my niece was just this adorable, chubby little, I don't even know how old you are in like kindergarten or Head Start, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But she would come home and she would come to our house so that her mom could come and get her later. And they'd be like, okay, Tiara, what'd you learn today? And I remember this one time, I'll try to make this quick, they were learning about, it was the worst. They were learning about Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
See, you already know how this went. She was like, we were talking about Abraham Lincoln, and he freed the slaves, and he was so good for black people. And I was like, well, you go back and you tell your teacher that Abraham Lincoln said that if he could keep the United States united without freeing a single slave, he would do that. And she needs to incorporate this. And she was
curriculum.
Like, yes. And
Oh
she was
my
like,
God.
Okay. But she had a really good memory. So I have no doubt that she
Really?
went to school the next
the
day
exact
And said it.
the whole list. My auntie said.
Oh, I love that.
And then, like, my mother had to tell me to, like, stop. Because her teacher was like, well, tell your aunt, true, but da-da-da-da. It was wrong, whatever it was. And I was like, no. Okay, Tiara, tomorrow. You go to... And my mother was like, Tracy, you need to chill out. You need to calm down. So I was awful. But I always think it's fascinating, like, what happens to you, like, once you're woke, like, once you start to think about, like, privilege and oppression and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just went so far left and
Yeah.
just so, I'm sorry to my niece. Mom, let's get you kicked out of school.
No, it's good. You probably opened up a little part of her
I
brain.
hope so. But she's also been the type that doesn't really want to make waves.
It's okay. It's still there, though. But that's still there for her to always. If you're there in her head, even a little bit, she doesn't even know it's you in the recesses back here in your hair.
Back here underneath
in her hair.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Where
Back
she,
in the kitchen, right. Even if that's where you're living for her, if you're back in the kitchen, that's fine. Then she still is in there so that when she approaches anything, there's probably a part of her that goes, well, what's the other side of that? Let me look a little further into that. You know what I mean? As opposed to if she's never had that kind of, prompting. I think that's good.
Also, maybe I didn't ruin her forever.
You're a good auntie.
I'm a good auntie. Yay.
Tracy, you're the best auntie.
Aw, thank you.
I don't know if that's true.
Wow.
Let me not put that out there.
Wow.
See you and dismissed.
Support for Another Round comes from Squarespace. With Squarespace, you get a unique domain experience that's simple to set up and an all-in-one platform to help you create a beautiful website. Which brings me to a game of Would You Rather Internet Edition. And here is where we invite Tyler Sorensen from BuzzFeed's creative department into the studio to ask me one hard Would You Rather question about the internets. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, Tracy.
What's up?
Not much. I have your question, though, if you want to
Let's
answer
do
that.
it. Let's do it.
Here it is. It's, would you rather your employer see your search history or your parents?
Easy answer. I would rather have my employer see my search history because I can blame it on working for a company as strange as BuzzFeed. Like, oh, I had to look up this very embarrassing thing because I'm researching it for a post. But I would have no excuses for my mom. I mean, I guess it could have been just be like, no, it's for work.
So you don't really care who
I
sees
don't care.
it. Okay.
Show it to the world. Get your unique domain today at squarespace.com. If you sign up for a year, the domain is completely free, and you can also save 10% off your first purchase with the offer code Another Round, as in the title of the wonderful show that you are listening to right now. Make your Make your next move with Squarespace. We have a million more questions for you, but we also know that we will be run out of here on a rail, which is honestly a term that I don't fully understand. Like, I know what it means, but I'm just like, this is a dumb way to like punish somebody. Like, anyway, if we don't, good, yes,
It's like one of those, like, okay. Google.
But we have to talk about Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Of course.
What's that?
It is a show that changed my life.
Oh. For the better.
For the better. Yes.
Some terrible decisions based on it.
Oh my gosh! Listen, that one time I did the Carlton dance on the roof. That was ill-advised. I didn't actually do that. So we have a segment that we call Pew Pew Pew. Pew pew pew. Pew pew pew. These are finger guns because this is our rapid fire questions.
I didn't know what pew 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 was until you guys did the gun.
Nobody ever does.
It's like pew pew pew.
Yeah, everybody's like
stinky stinky pew.
It's like I did not sign on for this. Yes, there you go. Rapid fire questions. We always intend them to be rapid. We always go off on a tangent here and there. So, take your time. Work through it. But this is going to be all Fresh Prince themed, right?
Okay, so as soon as Tracy said this, I was like, wow, got to talk about it. Do you think Carlton would have been a Trump supporter?
That's where I wanted to start.
Oh, wow. A very special Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. No, that would have been a two-parter. I think the writers would have made that a two-parter because, yes, he would have been in part one. Mm-hmm. Part two, something would have happened.
And then he comes on home.
Where he said, yeah.
There you go. He comes back to the ancestors.
And he gives his hat back to someone.
Right.
America's still great as it is.
Right.
So there was that episode where Trump was actually there.
Oh my God! Yeah. Wow.
So
there's been so much. I've been watching so much pop culture where he randomly pops up.
Yeah,
I was watching
wrestling
Sex
matches and shit. Like, what
even
are you
wrestling
doing?
matches.
And which one? What'd you say?
Donald Trump was in like an episode of like WWF Raw or something.
That
where
I saw
like,
they shaved some guy's head or something.
No.
Oh, maybe that was a different appearance. He's
Yeah,
been there multiple times.
he has been on wrestling.
I saw something
times.
where I think they shaved someone's head or something.
Oh, Vince McMahon. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
I saw him like on
I
Sex
didn't know
and
he
the
was Sex and the
City.
City. I didn't know he was
There's like
on
a
there.
Golden Girls joke about it. I was like, no, he's everywhere.
He was
Oh my God! Well, I knew
everywhere.
that. I knew he was on this show. I remember. I was, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't remember anything about it. I don't remember. With a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, in all of the pop culture moments, he's just like a signifier for money.
That's exactly. Or New
Yeah.
York, I guess, with Sex
New
and
York
the City,
or money.
it was New
Yeah,
York,
yeah.
right? New York money.
Sure.
In our case, it was money. It was just a thing of money while he was on the show. And I saw some people were playing some clip of Tatiana of Ashley having an interaction with him. I didn't even think to look anything up. I just figured, when he was there, they had this interaction. And then somebody sent me something, and it was me having an interaction with him.
Oh no!
Like video of it? Or just picture?
Yeah, no, I
Oh my
spoke
God.
to him.
So what did you talk about?
I don't know. I panicked when I saw it. I don't even know.
I mean, burn these
I said
now.
something like, you look something about him looking more richer in person or something. I can't do Hillary right now, but it was something about you look even richer in person. Something stupid.
Wow.
But I had a panic attack. I saw it. I was like, I spoke to him. He looked in my face.
I mean, you could not have known.
Right.
No,
No one could have known.
No one can fault you for that. You're safe. You're okay. Speaking of cameos, in the 90s when TV was black as fuck, because there were black shows, like you could choose.
And
like,
people
what
act
black
like
show you wanted to
that
watch.
didn't happen. Like we
It
remember
totally
that.
happened.
Well, when we were living it, we didn't feel like it was like tons of black shit. We didn't think
That's
that
true,
way.
that's
but
true.
Now, but we had no idea where things were going.
Exactly. So now that we're in like the wasteland, we're just like, the good old days. Remember when you could watch Moesha or Homeboys in Outer Space?
Oh my God, Homeboys in Outer Space. Those are my friends.
That's a deep cut, right?
You know the homeboys from outer space.
So funny.
Tell them we said what's up.
Oh my God.
So speaking of cameos, we were talking recently about all of the great like R&B and hip hop music cameos that would happen on these shows, right?
Yeah.
It was
So
such a
you got-
thing. Yeah.
it was definitely a thing. There was Tevin Campbell on Fresh Prince, which is like the thing that I think of first.
Tupac.
Tupac was on A Different World.
He was on Fresh
Biggie
Prince
was on
too.
Martin.
No, Tupac wasn't.
Oh, just kidding. That never happened.
She's adorbs. So what?
Belle Biv DeVoe was.
Yes, the
Ooh.
video. I was trying to be in the video. I love it. What was your favorite Fresh Prince cameo?
Okay.
Ooh.
I loved, we had so many. We had so many. Tom Jones.
Ooh.
Do you remember the Tom Jones?
Yeah.
Tom Jones. You want to be loved by anyone.
I sing that literally every day.
She does.
It's very unnerving.
That one was I had to get a Polaroid with Tom Jones.
Oh.
That was very cool. Zsa Zsa Gabor was on this. Zsa Zsa was on, and she let me wear her ring all day.
Oh.
Mind you, it was cubic zirconia, but it was still like a $2,500 ring from her collection. It was like a big fat square ring. I was never into diamonds or anything, and it was this big pink square, and I wore it all day. And she's like, "Oh, darling, you go ahead, do it, whatever." She let me.
Oh my God,
put it on me, let me wear it all day. I was like, "Oh, yes." So we just lost Zsa Zsa. Let me think. Those were some big ones. I was real excited about George Clinton, but he ended up not being on the show.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't remember this episode.
We had a table read. Didn't go very well.
Wait,
Oh,
what
shit, what do
happened?
you mean?
George wasn't back on Tuesday.
Wait.
How badly could it have gone?
No, it was we were all so excited. Everybody was just like, "Oh my God, George Clinton's here."
So was he just not good at like?
He just wasn't really. You couldn't hear him. I mean, he was doing a table reading. I couldn't hear him, and I don't know what ended up happening. I don't know if he wasn't into it ultimately, or if they just said, "George, maybe this isn't the right script for you." I don't know what happened.
Dang.
But it was a really bizarre table read where he was, you could hardly hear anything.
God, I still want
And
this to happen.
then came back, and he was not there.
Dang.
So that was kind of Sherman Hemsley, who played, speaking of the Jeffersons, who played the judge. He played the judge, the mentor to Uncle Phil.
Oh yes,
He had
I
a few
remember this.
shows, and I loved him. I
Was
loved
he super
him.
nice in person?
Such a nice guy. I had a birthday party. One day, a joint birthday party with my friend. We used to have them all the time because our birthdays the same week, and it was at some like restaurant or club or something, and they gave me a phone call like at the beginning of the party. Somebody called me, and I ran over, and it was Sherman Hemsley. It's not like we were best friends or something, but he called and said, "I can't come to the party, but I wanted to wish you a happy birthday." Because he was on tour with the Jeffersons, like they were like doing
They're
some
on tour.
I guess they tour and do things together. The Jeffersons on tour, like the musical.
The Jeffersons on ice.
Would watch.
I would see it.
Would watch.
I would go twice.
Disney call us.
But yeah, he was really, and he was really interesting is because the Jeffersons ran for 12 years, and then he was on Amen for like
I loved Amen.
5-6 years or something.
Amen had the best theme song. Black
remember-
choir.
you
Yes.
sing it?
Turn on a light from heaven. Shine on me. Yep.
See, you don't know it at all.
I know
she's,
nothing.
she's a baby.
Yes. But after all of that, and he would come on our show, and it was one of those things where backstage he was still you couldn't talk to him backstage because he was nervous, getting ready to go on. And I was
That's
like,
so charming.
wow, he's been doing this for so long, and he's so invested.
But
and
you're George Jefferson.
and you're George Jefferson, and then he'd go out there after being nervous on the side. He'd go out there and
just
tear it
kill
up
it.
and do stuff that he hadn't done in rehearsal. Just like he was so good. I loved him. And he was so sweet.
I want to be George Jefferson. I'm gonna start walking like
You
this
can.
tomorrow. Just don't say anything.
That's
crazy.
an excellent impression, Tracy. I buy it just
I
from
literally just wave my arms behind my back. That's all you gotta do.
the gate is
The
correct.
gate.
I
Good
see it.
word.
I see it. I see
Okay,
it.
gate. I see you.
Thank you. Speaking of cameos,
Word
What?
up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the cameo. She's
I
too
liked
young,
it.
like you
Yeah.
said.
Again,
sorry.
I'm 5. I'm 5. Dumb it down for me, guys.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of my favorite of Hillary's boyfriends, or just like dates, was Don Cheadle.
Ice Tray.
I forgot his name. Ice Tray.
Can I say for 2 seconds that I have tweeted some very inappropriate things at Don Cheadle?
I know you have, Tracy. I know you have. He is fine. He is fine. In your defense, he is fine.
I think I called him once, possibly twice.
I'm listening.
I think I called him something to the effect of You I can't say it. You big old piece of chocolate hallelujah sex.
Oh my god.
Oh man!
Right?
What hour? Early? But you're drinking right now. So
It was probably in the morning. I probably
11.
woke up and I was like, you know what I need to do? I need to talk to Don Cheadle.
Dawn.
I need to call him some hallelujah sex. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't remember my question.
Ice tray.
Ice tray, yes. Who were some of your favorite of Hillary's dates?
That was definitely.
Yeah?
That was so much fun. And Don and I were friends at the time too, so I knew him. So it was really and the show was like the 5th episode. So that was really fun and really exciting to be able to do. And it was so fun to act with him.
Are you still friends with Don Cheadle?
Tracy wants to know.
No, I don't know him. I don't know where he is.
Damn
I
it.
don't know.
I was going to ask
Sorry.
you to text him. It's okay. It's
Sorry.
fine. It's for the best.
And let me think. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think because there were a lot of people. Malcolm Jamal Warner was in there. Philip Morris, but I mean, hands down, Brian Stokes Mitchell, Trevor.
Trevor. Yes, Trevor.
Is the best.
R.I.P. Trevor.
That's traumatic.
And what they did to it was really traumatic. I mean, when I've seen it now, I go, that was really nasty that we did. That was crazy to do. And when we did it,
It really was.
they gave us
a lot.
They made us look at the TV. And
I rewatched the
and
TV.
you know how we're all watching the TV? Well, really on that monitor was him jumping off the bungee that they show. Mm-hmm. And then the TV goes black. So we're watching that. But as we were doing it in the daytime before the audience came in at night, because you run through the whole thing in the day and then you do it at night really fast with the audience there. The sound people were having fun. So every time he would land, they were doing a different sound effect. Like so somebody would bite into an apple. And we had to keep straight faces. And then something would splatter. I mean, every time it was a different nasty sound. And we were all just, it would be crunch, just different.
How many times did you have to do it?
I don't remember, but I remember we went through a few nasty sounds. And just trying to keep a straight face. Wow. They're having fun.
I feel like we don't really do sitcoms in the same kind of scale of audience energy.
It can be fun. That stuff we did after we had the earthquake. We had a big earthquake in LA. And so when we came back and there were lots of aftershocks and everybody was shaking. Right? Everybody's all freaked out. So then we came back to work and we who were we messing with? The director? I think it was the director. And everybody, so all of us downstairs, because the director's up in a booth watching everything on the cameras. So we we had a cue with the camera people. They were going to start shaking the camera. So all they would see up in the booth was all this shaking, and all of us were we're moving around. It was so fun. And then you could do stuff like that. And the time that Alfonso with the audience, when he ran around the audience, did you guys ever see that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is my favorite.
He thinks that he helped kill Nia Long somehow.
Yes,
I forgot
something like that.
I'm listening.
So something by leaving her somewhere and that she died. Will to get him back. Will makes him think that he killed her, and so he's
oh my gosh!
He screams.
He just has a black funeral fit. And just
He
runs all around the
Never
audience.
heard that. That's good. That's good. He runs out of the kitchen, around the back, and he ends up coming up through the college elevator, down the living room stairs,
crawls across the kitchen floor,
drags himself across the kitchen floor.
That
drag crawl is iconic.
It's the drag.
The drag crawl.
That is really good. Anyways, that was one of the funniest moments.
Oh my gosh. So we read somewhere that you and a certain Will Smith were banned from Roscoe.
Oh,
and Waffles.
Oh,
as someone who was almost banned from an Underground Railroad museum, I'm very interested in the story.
No, but it wasn't quite like that. We weren't banned from Roscoe's didn't tell us you can't come in here anymore. It wasn't exactly like that, and it wasn't just me and Will. It was me.
So everyone was
Will,
banned from
Alfonso. No, but it wasn't James. All of us. No, what happened was.
What happened was
the first year on the show, we were at KTLA, which was really close to Roscoe's. And we used to go at lunch. And we come back and we couldn't work.
What?
Because we had gone to Roscoe's. So we were just like lying around the chairs.
y'all had
and the
the itis.
couches. Yeah, and they'd be like, okay, get up to, do
And
the
you're like,
seat. And
I
we're
just
like,
ate 2 pounds
okay.
of waffles.
Yeah. We could not get up. And when we did, we just dragged. We were just like, and they're like trying to get us to have energy. And we were just, and then somebody inevitably would have lemon heads. I don't know why.
Wow.
And we would eat lemon
head
head.
I've ever heard.
Lemon-
Lemon heads and chicken and waffles.
And then and because they were mad at us, the lemon heads would give us the giggles.
What?
Because of all the sugar, I guess. We would get the giggles. So we were like lethargic and giggling and laughing and not cooperating. And they were like, that's it.
Also,
That's
it was like the producers who
It
were
was
like,
the
y'all
director
can't
and
go
producer. The director was mad at us.
Oh, I
Jeff
thought
was
Roscoe
like,
came out the kitchen was like, listen, tell you what you're not going to do around here. I don't know why Roscoe says
The Roscoe. Don't get it twisted.
Roscoe. That's Roscoe. Oh, I recognize him. That's definitely.
Yeah,
Oh,
see?
that's so funny. Yeah, no, it wasn't actually Roscoe's that kicked us out.
So as we were saying, I feel like Hillary Banks is like epitome of bougie.
Yes,
And
black
like
bougie.
when I'm trying to
at its
give people an
finest.
example of bougie, she's what I point to. You know?
So
Who
when
else?
when the Migos came out with the song "Bad and Bougie,"
Mm-hmm.
in which they spelled bougie with like some J's and too many
Okay, so I feel like there's
E's.
like a conversation about how you spell bougie.
Yes.
And like if you are like a journalist, you'd spell it like bourgeoisie
with the R.
with the like a full French word.
Oh, okay.
And then like Migos came out with bougie with like 2 E's and a J.
yeah.
That wasn't even in
Wait, they spell it
consideration.
B-O.
Hold on, sorry.
We don't
Gotta
even.
get it this
I
right.
can't.
The
You
whole-
know how the youth is, just putting extra letters and
I just
shit.
feel like it's really easy, right?
Wait, how do you
spell
it?
bougie? Is my question.
Bougie.
Right, accurate. That's what I say.
I'm a good speller.
I know letters and words.
I am one of the. I don't know if this is rare, but I put an R in there. Bourgie.
But just wrong.
So did you? Thank you.
I can't get over that R with the. If you do the whole thing, I can handle it. But if you just do the abbreviated with the R, it's just
Yeah.
Boujee.
Bourgie.
I'm not gonna
Bourgie.
say it.
Tracy's a little bourgie.
She's like, no, I'm holding on to my R.
Do you?
It has an R in it.
Hey. Wait.
Did you identify with any of Hillary's like bougie tendencies?
Yeah. Do you identify as bougie or bourgie? As
Bourgie.
some people say?
As one person says.
I didn't. But I do look back sometimes and I'm a little embarrassed by some
talk
behavior.
To us. Talk to us.
No, I mean, I shopped a lot.
That's okay. But I mean,
I was making money back then. I was like, oh, hey, let's go to Barney's.
money.
We go to Barney's and go shop and have lunch.
That's what I would do if I had money.
But I guess I look back and I feel like I was a little, I wasn't like her, but I feel like I was a little frivolous. I was younger and they
Just
were
want
like,
the best of the best.
and I was having a good time.
Now there's
Yeah.
another category that is what my friends call bougetto.
Oh. And
Some
like the
hybrids in there.
Now, and that would be,
So you are somehow both highbrow and lowbrow.
Are you really going to be talking about Boujee without giving reference to the Nelly song?
What is the Nelly song?
Oh my God!
I feel embarrassed. What's happening?
is there an R in it?
Nelly.
What is the Nelly song?
I'm sorry.
Tracy, she got you. That was the roast
I mean,
ham
like, what
proper.
can you say in my own home? I'm just like, you got it. You got it. You can now go into my refrigerator without asking permission. This is your house
This
now.
is
You
your
live
house
here.
as well.
It's cool. No, Nelly had a song called Boujee.
She bougetto, that means she bougie and ghetto. Bougie cause her shoes alone cost $1,000. Ghetto cause she cuss too much and talk with her hands. She says she on
That's Boujee. If it ain't ghetto, Boujee, baby. Da, 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 da.
I gotta
clearly
give
don't know the
my
words.
props
I'm
to
looking that up.
Nelly. I am so sorry.
And there was, I don't think there was an R.
I feel like an example of it is like Moscato.
Moscato.
Is Moscato Boujee?
I think so. It's like it's an ostensibly high-end product that is marketed towards Black people.
Oh.
Is it a high end?
Meaning
So-
like a dessert wine.
There's this theory that
So like a luxury product, I guess, if it's done right.
A
Not
stereotype
not the
of-
CVS version.
Yeah.
first of all, don't sleep on sleep. You
Listen,
know what?
barefoot, I live with a barefoot, okay?
I love barefoot. But there's a stereotype that Black people love Moscato. because we've never advanced beyond Moscato.
What do you mean?
Yeah, okay.
What is the advance of Moscato?
Just like there's all of the other white wines. You got dry whites, you got Cabernets.
I just
Wait,
think it's
that's
effective
red.
marketing.
That's okay. That's okay.
I just think
No, I was
it's
trying to
effective marketing.
No.
I don't think
it's
black
like a
people
thing.
love Prosecco. I think black people are predominantly marketed
See,
for Prosecco.
I don't know that that's true. Prosecco, I
Okay.
feel like is something that's pushed towards white folks. Moscato is like, oh, here y'all go.
Is it bubbly?
Moscato is not bubbly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nikki had a Moscato line.
Nikki Moscato has a line of Moscato.
You know, I have lost track of the question.
Hey, what are we talking about?
I think it's time to wrap up.
Okay.
We will continue this conversation when you come back, which I hope you will.
I would love to. This
Yes.
was fun. Next time I'll have something to drink if it's
Ooh.
as long as it's not brown.
We got you, girl.
Oh,
I got a headache.
How do you feel about a gin?
Ooh.
I'll do it.
We are venturing into gin-based
getting
drinks.
into gin.
We're venturing, is what I'm
It
saying.
scares me still.
Okay.
Ooh,
but
same.
I'll just be scared.
No.
We can
I'll
hold
do-
hands and do it together. It'll be fine.
Jump the broom together, guys.
Karyn Parsons, you are a delight and a half.
This was fun.
It was so much
Thank
fun.
you.
Where can people find you, and where can they find out more information about Sweet Blackberry?
Sweet Blackberry, sweetblackberry.org. And you can find out more information about the organization, and you can reach me there too.
And you're also on the Twitters, we understand.
Yeah, and on Facebook, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and we are doing our Instagram slowly but surely.
Hey, slowly but surely.
I'm trying.
And what should people check out on Netflix?
Oh yes, I'm so terrible. We
got you.
Gotcha. Yeah, right now the Sweet Blackberry films are all available to be streamed on Netflix. So if you go look up Sweet Blackberry, and we have. Oh God, we've got The Journey of Henry Box Brown. We spoke about Henry Box Brown. That's
Very
narrated
small
by
box.
narrated in very small box. Don't get in it at the museum.
Yeah, don't be a Tracy.
Alfred Woodard. Alfred Woodard narrated that one. We have Queen Latifah narrated Garrett's Gift, which is also available, and Chris Rock narrated the Dancing in the Light, the Janet Collins story, the story of the first black prima ballerina, which they're all available on Netflix for streaming.
So if you want some educational animated material
And
for
they're
your
fun.
children,
For the children. For the
Educate
children.
the children.
That's good though. That covers all ages. All age
Exactly.
groups.
Yeah.
Everybody's a children. Thank you for
Everybody.
coming on this journey with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we just dive into my war against Uber drivers?
Yes,
and Lyft
but first,
drivers?
can we play our funky theme song? Because I really miss it for what had happened with.
Oh shit! Yes, I forgot about that.
Jean Grey, drop us. Drop us.
Set us down really gingerly, please. We don't want to break a bone.
Play the drop.
Okay, so what happened was, I should preface this by saying that Nicole of Nicole's Nikki Nut has this theory. I don't know that I agree with it all the way, but she has a theory that when I've had a couple of adult beverages in my system,
Okay.
that I turn into what she calls, and I quote, super nigga feminist.
What is that?
What is that, you're asking? That was the exact question I had, too. And so, basically, her
I
description...
like it already, but-
Oh, I put it in my Twitter bio the next day. It's there right now. But according to her, once I've had a couple of drinks, I become even more sensitive to men just talking to me crazy and just doing all kind of whatever, you know?
So you turn into the superhero you wish you could be in real life.
Yeah. But whenever I'm like, okay, I'm now in a pugnacious mood because I've been drinking the brown liquors, I only
Pugnacious.
get into,
Ooh.
it's a good word, right? I only get into tips with men. And
Okay.
recently it's been Uber drivers for some reason.
Oh, Lord.
Also, let me clarify that in only one of these tiffs, I was a little tipsy. That's a factor in one of the stories. I'm going to start with a situation where I'm just minding my black ass business.
As
I'm
one
in
does.
a Lyft, as one does. I'm flying to North Carolina for the Ida B. Wells. I always want to say Ida Bay Wells. For the Ida Bay Wells residency that I was doing in Wake Forest. Hi, Wake Forest. I miss you guys. And it was minding my business. We were I was flying out of JFK? LaGuardia. LaGuardia is the shitty one, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I was flying out of LaGuardia. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to need to tell him, like, what terminal or whatever. And it just so happens that as I pull out my phone to look at, like, all of my pre-check, whatever, he's like, what terminal is it? And I was like, oh, I'm looking it up to see. And it took me a minute because Delta didn't include which terminal in like my little like check-in, like my little e-ticket or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I gotta do the Googles and figure out which terminal Delta flies out of. Turns out they'd fly out of 3 terminals.
Okay.
So I then had to Google the exact flight information. It was a thing.
Stress.
Right? Right. It's just like tedious and laborious, but completely doable as somebody who works for the internet and knows how Google works and also knows how an airport terminal works. So I live tweeted this whole thing that happened. What happened was...
Wait, you're tweeting as you're searching?
Yes. And like the whole time, and like the thing that like really annoyed me even more is that still in the back of my head, like my good, like demure little Southern, like he's just trying to be nice, like don't offend him, blah, blah, blah. That shit kicks in at random in my life. Usually when I don't need it to, but it kicked in then and I was just like, oh, you know what? He's just trying to help. Let me be patient. He's going to shut the fuck up eventually when he realizes that I'm a 35-year-old woman who knows how to use the internet. It's important because like the level of mansplaining that he did was just like nuts. So I would like to do a dramatic reading, if you're okay with this.
I would.
Of the live tweets.
Oh, my.
So that you can really capture my rage.
Please,
in the moment.
play-by-play.
Okay. The first tweet about this incident is in all capital letters, so I was already fed up. I was already over it. My fucking Lyft driver keeps explaining to me what a goddamn airport terminal is, and I am going to flip. He's giving me tips I don't need, and I keep telling him I fly several times a month for work. This is my 3rd flight in as many weeks. It's my 2nd flight from LaGuardia, but he just keeps explaining and explaining and explaining. Quote, Google Delta Terminal LGA, end quote. That's what he told me. In capital letters. I did that and there's 3 different terminals. I said that twice. So I explained it again and he explains to me again that if this were JFK, we'd only need the airline name because they work differently. So airports often require different types of approaches when you go to them because they're different. Is a thing that he thought I did not know even after I told him this is my 3rd airplane in like 4 days. What is you doing? What are you doing?
Ooh, that's real. That's real.
So I'm trying to Google, right? I'm trying to like shut him out enough and calm my inner rage enough. And then you know what he says? He says, do you have 411?
No.
Yes. And I looked at him crazy because first of all, who uses 411? And I was like, no, sir, just give me a second. And like I put a little bass in my voice at that point, right? Because I'm finally getting pissed off enough to let him know it. And the thing that I really didn't appreciate it is that like I couldn't let him know exactly how pissed off I was because he's got my life in this 2-ton hunk of metal and steel.
Yeah, that's why
You
I
know?
literally never talk in cars.
Yeah, it's a good practice to not do that. But as soon as I like put some bass in my voice, he was like, oh, okay, I'm just trying to help. Oh, you know, I believe in you. You can do it.
I believe in you.
He said, I believe in you.
Ah.
Right. I don't know. It's just like, and I was so mad. And so then I asked a question on Twitter that ruined my mentions for 3 or 4 days because there were so many responses. And this question was, women, what's the most frustrating thing you've ever had mansplained to you? For 3 days, I couldn't see anybody else's responses because everybody was just like, just yesterday, let me tell you about what happened. And I thought it was really interesting that the things that people were saying that men tend to mansplain the most are things they never even experienced, like childbirth and being pregnant and having a period and like birth control and shit.
They do be talking like they just know.
Like they just know. I was trying to find like the best ones, but they're all like they're all trash. They're all trash. There was this woman who was like, I wrote a book and this man was trying to like explain something using evidence from my book. And she was like, I literally wrote the book on this. Literally.
Imagine being able to say that.
So Rebecca Solnit wrote an essay about this very thing, like literally writing a book and having a man explain it to her. The essay is called Men Explain Things to Me. But there were so many other women who also wrote actual books where they had to research shit for years, publish them only to have men on like panels and shit explain their own shit to them. I'm just like, wait.
And if like you are a man who's thinking, I've never done that, you are wrong.
Yes.
There's also a thing I like to point men to, which is how often they interrupt women. Without noticing it. There was this article in The Cut about like how the women in the Obama administration tried to like raise each other's voices.
I remember
They
that.
called it amplifying.
Yeah.
So it'd be like you say something and then of course you're drowned out by
all
the men in the room and them claiming credit for the idea you might have just said. So what you do is you're like, I want to further think through what Tracy was suggesting.
Yeah, I love
when
that.
she said this, and then, you know, Eric over here
Yes.
claimed credit for it, but not exactly that. You know what I'm saying?
We should make that a thing that more people do.
Yes, amplifying.
Also, I want to empower and encourage women to let men know when they interrupt them.
Right.
Like, oh, I wasn't finished, but you go ahead. You're like, oh,
Let it be known. We all noticed.
Right. You know that awkward thing that you do in meetings sometimes when like you're trying to like speak, but somebody's speaking the same as like, oh, I didn't. Oh no, you. Just do that and look real crazy a few times.
Yes, look crazy a few times.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Okay, so my second Lyft story is actually a lot shorter and less infuriating, but still infuriating. And it was also just really, really weird. So I was leaving some place, some bar, just another bar, and my Lyft driver comes. You know, he's a dude, completely average, which I appreciated. I had been drinking. I didn't mind chit chatting.
I've been drinking.
Right, and he's trying to get them 5 stars. So he was also DTC, as they say.
What?
Down to chat.
No. No.
Listen, I won't even allow that for myself.
No.
It's not gonna happen, Tracy. No. So I get in the car. His name is like Antonio or some shit. He is one of those like racially ambiguous light skins who could be literally anything, right? And we get to chit chat. No, where are you from? From Kentucky. Blah 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 blah. And I think he asked about my ethnic background or something. And so I asked him about. I was just like, oh, I'm black, but I asked him what he was. He said he's white, black, and Jamaican. And I said, oh, you separate the black and the Jamaican? And he was like, yeah. So I don't trip over that. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. But I asked him about it because I've never heard of that happening with Jamaicans. And so I asked about it. I can't remember his exact response, but it made me go, you know, because it was disparaging against the idea of being just like generally black, right? I was like, all right. And that led to a conversation about like blackness and who's black and who isn't. And
Yo, you be going through it in your lips.
I know.
Sounds like a sociology semester.
I know. And see, this is the story in which the super nigga feminist comes out.
Oh
because
my God.
Had I been
Sorry, I forgot about that
sober, regular nigga feminist instead of super nigga feminist, I probably would have changed the subject or just like not spoken anymore. But I was like, oh,
No,
really?
you're going to get the
What do you
sociology
mean by
degree.
that? What is this supposed to mean? And so eventually, like, we are going at it, right? Like, I'm speaking.
What is the argument, though?
I can't remember because I was drunk, but I was right is what I know.
Okay.
And when I say going at it, not like yelling and screaming, but I'm like talking very, very quickly. And I'm just like, well, what do you mean by that? You know, like I was just like in the zone. I was in the zone and he just kept saying really, really dumb shit. And so I got to the point where I was like, well, listen, America's racist as fuck. If you are 2/4 Belgian and like 5% black or whatever, if you look black, if you read as black, when you get pulled over, the cops are just gonna see another nigga. And then he was like, see, that's the problem with black people, just thinking about yourself as being niggers. And I was like, okay, real quick. let me.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
This is what you should not have done. And I was
When
like,
keeping it real goes wrong.
at this moment, Antonio realized he done fucked up. And so I was like, well, let's have a conversation about the word nigger because I'm very
He said
familiar.
the full ER?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I was like, okay.
We feeling froggy now.
Listen. And like he also just had this air about him that just like, like he like chortled a lot.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like I would say something.
Oh, I hate a chortle in the wild.
Oh, I hate it. But I would say something challenging or refuting him and he'd be like, well, yeah.
You would think so.
Yeah. I wanted to leap out of that backseat and just like hit his face with all of my fingernails like
I feel like there's a really patronizing way that black non-Americans talk about black Americans.
Yeah.
That like will come out in a fucking chortle.
Yes. Especially in an Uber at midnight, apparently.
Also at those hours.
Right. So that's my twofer.
Oh, Tracy.
Join me next time for another episode of Tracy Done Got in a Fight with another Lyft driver. Because it's going to happen again very soon. Let's buy some rounds. You go first.
Tracy McGee.
Wait.
I'd like to buy a round for your Snapchat.
Is it getting better? Because I think I'm really bad at Snapchat.
No, you're getting so much better. Okay, first of all, tell me why she has personas. I like turn on Snap. I'm the kind of person who like checks Snapchat and Twitter like in the morning, whatever, you know? One day, just browsing through my phone, and I see like a 3-part entry to her new character, Healthy Foods?
Young Healthy Snack.
Young Whole Foods.
So Young Healthy Snack is, just a woman about the world.
Excuse me, I thought I said snacks.
I think it's because I said snacks earlier.
It's not
We
JC
just
Penney's.
we're just getting to know each other. But she's just moving through the world trying to live her life. She recognizes that it's hard for a Black woman, and sometimes she's just trying to keep the body together and not falling apart. So she got to eat a healthy snack sometime.
Right.
So the way this came about actually is because I was at home and there are so many snacks in the kitchen, but I was like, I'm gonna be healthy and eat an apple, and I wanted some fanfare. I was like, I deserve
I feel
a
you
Ticker
though.
Tape parade.
I made a good decision.
Right. Where is my confetti? Where are the balloons?
So you created your own on Snapchat.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Young Healthy Snack.
It was
made an appearance
delightful.
this
I was like,
morning.
I want to hype myself up while I'm eating an apple.
Do it.
Look at me. I'm eating an apple. Swag me out.
Yeah.
I did that last night. I felt great.
See, should have hit the Snapchat with it.
You're right.
Make it real. Make it real.
But yes, your Snapchat is a delight.
Aw, this means a lot to me because I take all of my Snapchat like clues and hints and tips from you.
That's wild because there's no Young Healthy Snacks on my account at all.
Well, it's like when you sing a song and then the American Idol judges are like, but make it your own. That's what I tried to do.
I see you, Tracy. I see you making it your own. Okay. What's your Snapchat again, Tracy?
I think it's Tracy.face.
You decided to switch that one up for some reason?
Yeah, I don't know.
She's not broke on Snapchat.
Ooh, she Young Healthy Snack on Snapchat.
She out here living
Ain't got time for
an
brokenness.
abundance of wealth.
Too busy eating fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
Bam.
Trace.face.
Tracy.face.
Tracy.face. I'm never going to remember this. But I already follow you.
So my round I'm really excited about because this round involves someone that you and I both know.
Ooh.
Someone who has been on the show.
Ooh.
He is a investigative reporter
Ooh.
here at BuzzFeed. He shared with us a reported story that he did around the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. It was really, really great. His name is Albert Samaha, and he is one of the most positive people I've ever met.
Facts.
In my life. Like, he sees the good in everything.
He does.
To the point.
Oh, Albert.
I know. And then it's really like rubbed off on me, right? Because okay, and here's the point that I'm getting to. So something that he does a lot is he uses the phrases I like and I love at least like 20 times like an hour. Because he just like points out things that he likes that are around him. Me, I'm like, oh, I hate that. I can't stand this.
First of all, why?
First of all, what is this? Just like...
Also, how dare you?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
those are like words that are just not in his like lexicon at all. So I started a list probably like a few months ago called Things Albert Likes.
Oh.
And every time he says I like or I love something, I write it down.
Oh my God.
And literally when I'm feeling just like a piece of shit, which I have been lately, I just like, he makes it a point to name things that he likes. And it's like, why are you even thinking about this? Like who thinks about these things? I feel like this will only make sense with the proper illustration. So I would like to read from this list of things Albert likes. Maybe about 5 things, just completely at random. I like driving through New York with jazz playing. Chances are we were not talking about driving or jazz. I like the character, like in a movie or something, of the bartender who knows everything. I like grizzly bears. I love brick buildings. I love radishes. I love clock towers. I like good parks. I love a good pico, as in pico de gallo. I like aloe. I like rice wines. I love euphemisms for stuff. I love sauces. I like functionality.
Yo, shout out to sauces.
Hey, condiments and shit
Shout out to sauces.
takes your shit to the next level.
This is the cutest list I've ever heard.
And it really makes me feel better when I feel like a piece of shit. I love that you can just watch TV on your computer now.
Yo, that shit is fire.
Right.
That's dope.
I know. So shout out to Albert Samaha. Shout out to just positivity and people who remind you to just like notice shit around you that you enjoy versus picking out things that you hate, which is really a thing. Like, I say the words I don't like far more than I say I like, just like in the course of a day. Like, I don't like avocados, just randomly. You know? I don't know. Shout out to positive people. I don't know how y'all do it.
It's crazy because you are this person for me.
I get tired, though. This one never gets tired. Albert Samaha is just always like, I love foam things and studio walls or whatever. I love these microphones have little caps on them. They look like hats. You know? Credits. Heben, we did it.
Tracy, we made it. Hey. That song never gets old.
Never. Thank you to Karyn Parsons, a.k.a. Miss Hillary Banks, a.k.a. Miss Daddy. I need $300.
Daddy.
Follow Karyn Parsons at Karyn_Parsons, and her first name is spelled Karyn because she fancy and also classy.
Also.
And check out Sweet Blackberry at sweetblackberry.org. Shout out to the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad.
Oh, with the little fade out at the end. You're getting too fancy for me. The student has become the teacher. This episode was produced by Nina Patuk and Julia Furlan with editorial oversight from Eleanor Kagan and Meg Kramer. Shout out to our in-house music producers, Miss Jean Gray. You can follow her on Twitter at Jean Greasy, and Don Will of the Almighty Tanya Morgan, which is a rap group that you should check out. You can follow him on Twitter at Don Will. You can follow Heben on Twitter at Heben Rants, and you can follow me at Broken Poverty, and you can follow Young Healthy Snack on Snapchat at Tracy.face.
Yes, do it.
And you can follow Another Round on other things. You can follow us on Twitter at Another Round. You can follow us on Facebook at Another Round. You can send us an email to anotherround@buzzfeed.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. You can do that at buzzfeed.com/anotherround/newsletter. It is the bomb. We got merch. We got t-shirts. We got totes.
Ooh.
They're lovely and functional. You can get those at shop.buzzfeed.com. Drink some water, take your meds, call your person.
Eat an apple.
Eat an apple and then celebrate yourself for that shit. Because you know what? Potato chips are much more tastier than apples are.
But you did it. You had an apple.
You did it. You ate an apple. Maybe you had potato chips afterwards. Ain't nobody talking about that right now. We talking about the apple part.
You're such a good friend, Tracy. I like the idea of like a super nigga feminist cartoon. I'm like imagining the scenario she's getting into, the microaggressions she's like fighting off.
And now her friends are like, not again. This is not an actual good place for this.
It never is. It never is.
Did you see RuPaul's Drag Race last night?
Of course I did.
It blew my mind.
It's all I ever talk about, and I can't find anybody to talk about it with, so I am so thankful that you're here.
I mean, you have become my RuPaul's Drag Race soulmate, and I am thrilled that we have a new podcast at BuzzFeed called The Library, where this is all we talk about.
Here, it truly is RuPaul's best friend race.
I could not agree with you more. So join us every Saturday as we recap the latest episode of Season 9 and gag over TV's best reality show.
Tune in wherever you find your podcasts.